Hi everyone, Phil here with what should be Skweel's final research episode, episode 10. I'm once again at Byron Bay's beautiful Duality SE studio. And tonight, special thanks go to Byron Drogenmuller, who's been essential in helping me set up my laptop so that it can run audio through the HDX system. Thanks very much, Byron. In episode 8, I ran into a timing snag. So in episode 9, I tried to suss out using 3 different hypotheses what could be going wrong, and I could only manage to test 2 of these 3 hypotheses. So guess what we're doing tonight? What I would like to do is try the exact same sequence running in Pro Tools and running in another DAW, and for that I'm going to use Larsen Mixbus. And let's see if there is indeed a difference or if there isn't. So this is what I've got happening. 4 tracks in Larsen Mixbus. Each one is unmuting for 1 30-second, then muting again, 1 30-second gap. Then the next track unmutes for 1 30-second, a 30-second gap, etc. So basically it's creating a 16th note rhythmical pattern spread over these 4 tracks. And I've set this at a tempo of 120, and it goes a little something like this. I don't know if this is visible on the video. I'll make a close-up a bit later. And I'm going to run this 3 times. I'll spare you those 2 extra times. That way I think I'll have a large enough sample that I can then analyze for the comparison with the exact same thing happening in Pro Tools. Speaking of which, let's shut down this session and show you in Pro Tools. Nope, Command-Shift-W does not work with Larsen Mixbus. So now we do exactly the same thing in Pro Tools. Again, we have a 30-second note, a gap, which is also a 30-second, meaning that the next event is 1/16th note later. And here's what it sounds like. This concludes the little comparison. I now need to scrutinize the 3 samples I recorded from the Larsen Mixbus DAW and the 3 samples I just recorded with the Pro Tools DAW. From what I've heard, the timing issues are roughly the same, so I reckon I'm going to stick with Pro Tools, as I know that software much better. Although I did notice that the plugin seems to be a bit more fidgety with Pro Tools. Every now and then, especially when I reload the session with Larsen Mixbus, you load the session, you press play, bam, everything plays properly. Whereas here, I sometimes need to open the plugin, fiddle with the mute on-off switch, and before I'm able to get something. In fact, I've had a few times where I would press play and nothing would happen. None of the 4 plugins would work. Really strange. Maybe it's, again, a fluke. Right, so it doesn't look good. This needed to be confirmed, but there is definitely a timing issue when using MIDI over Ethernet, IP MIDI. This is strange because MIDI, I've done sequencing since the 80s using MIDI sequencers, and they were rock solid. Some would argue that control voltage gate sequencers were even snappier, more on the grid. But this is very strange that in 2018, 21st century, well into it, that we're not able to have the exact same timing that we were able to have 30 years ago. Mind you, the manufacturers probably didn't expect that some bozo would be doing this with their mute switches. Still though, if I program a mute to be precisely right before a guitar chord is struck, I would expect that to happen where I programmed it, not with a tolerance of plus minus 15 milliseconds, I think I measured when I analyzed the stuff from episode 9. This concludes the whole thing. I will now see you in 2 months from now when I perform the composition. Now I have to get my hands in the grease and start programming. See you then.